Hello and welcome to Freedom Watch, your daily dose of raw liberty, streaming online at foxnews.com. I'm your host, Judge Andrew Napolitano, here defending freedom, defending your natural rights, and defending your right to have a government that stays within the confines of the Constitution. The Justice Department released a policy memo recently telling federal prosecutors not to target marijuana smoking patients and marijuana dispensaries that comply with state laws. This is the most significant policy shift with respect to marijuana since 1978. But it took the federal government almost 30 years to realize that decriminalizing marijuana actually makes sense. We've wasted billions and billions of dollars, imprisoned and ruined the lives of countless people, and imposed the government's will on Americans' private, personal, victimless behavior to determine what we should or shouldn't be able to put in our bodies, all to realize that it's been an absolute waste of lives and taxpayer money. My next guest is a strong advocate for legalizing marijuana and an advocate of raising awareness of the government's failures, blatant failures, in the war on drugs. Joining me now is Aaron Houston, Director of Government Relations for the Marijuana Project. He joins me now. Aaron, welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thanks so much for having me.
Does the government finally recognize, or was there something recent that came from the government, that marijuana is actually less harmful to the body than abuse of it via alcohol?
Well, there have been numerous studies over the years that have conclusively proven that, and certainly the government itself does suggest at the edges, for example, on the NIDA website, that indeed, if you look at the listed effects from alcohol as compared with the listed effects for marijuana, for example, dependence and withdrawal side effects,
right,
you can see the stark differences there. Of course, I think that it's been clear for a long time. I think that the government is starting to wake up. Our new drug czar, Gil Kurlikowski, has said that he has, quote, ended the war on drugs. Of course, ending the war on drugs takes more than words. It takes actions. And in fact, as you so eloquently noted, the war on drugs has, and the war on marijuana users in particular, has ruined countless lives. We've now doubled the arrests for marijuana arrests from 1991 to 2009. It's absolute madness. And of course, I don't need to tell you, Judge, that our policy gives an absolute edge on the market to the cartels. They operate in 230 American cities, and they get 70% of their profits.
Here's my question, Aaron. Does the government now recognize that? I mean, why is it that Attorney General Eric Holder, in one of the first official meaningful things he did as Attorney General, was basically saying, as long as you're obeying the state law, we are not going to enforce the federal law. The rest of the sentence that doesn't come out of his mouth is, because the federal law doesn't work, because the federal law is unconstitutional, because the federal law invades privacy, because the federal law in a cost-benefit analysis costs more than it benefits. Whatever you want to use to fill in the blank. Why did he say that? What do you think he's suddenly recognizing by that?
Well, what I think that he is recognizing, and I think what then Senator Obama recognized and later President Obama recognized, is that this is a very popular issue. And in fact, it cuts across the ideological spectrum.
Right.
And you see this time and time again. On the Democratic side, for example, on the supporters of Obama, you see with his election, he had several online town hall meetings where he asked voters to come on to the website and pose their top question that they would like asked of him. And 3 out of 3 times when it was such a contest was run on his official website, marijuana taxation and regulation in some way came out number one each and every single time. And then on the Republican side, you see a very interesting similar dynamic among the most active voters in the Republican Party right now. Who are the most active? As you well know, sir,
right,
they are the Tea Party folks who are really activated and motivated right now, and they are breathing new life into the Republican Party. Well, the Republican leaders in Washington need to realize.
I'll give you another one. In the Supreme Court decision of just 2 years ago, called Gonzalez against Raich, that's the California case in which the federal government prosecuted a woman for growing her own marijuana and using it for herself pursuant to a prescription from a physician. the dissent was written by Justice Clarence Thomas, and he's basically saying, let's see. The Congress made marijuana criminal under the Interstate Commerce Clause. This was not commerce, and it never left the lady's backyard. So where does it get the authority to make her a criminal? Would you have expected such an argument from the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court?
Oh, it is amazing. And actually, several conservative justices were on Angel Rach's side in that opinion. Of course, I think it is plainly ridiculous that marijuana that would be consumed and grown on a person's private property would somehow be considered affecting interstate commerce. It seems plainly ridiculous. And of course, the war on marijuana is one of the most egregious examples of the overreach of Congress and the Interstate Commerce Clause since the expansion of the New Deal.
Do you think that the government itself recognizes that its war on drugs has been a dismal, miserable, abominable failure?
Absolutely. And I think the cops on the front lines know that. I think that the judges know that. I think that everyone who has their head not stuck in the sand realizes that at this point. And you talk to these guys who fight on the front lines, and they acknowledge that our marijuana prohibition is feeding the cartels profits. It's absolutely outrageous. Now you have Pat Buchanan, you have Glenn Beck, all these folks who are coming out in favor of this, in favor of actually taking away these profits from the cartels, taxing it, regulating marijuana, taking it out of their hands.
I can tell you of undercover agents in the NYPD and the New Jersey State Police and federal agents who agree with you and me and most of the people watching us, but aren't permitted to say so because their employers are still on record as being in favor of enforcing these laws. Aaron Houston, it's a pleasure having you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure being here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.